Welcome to Movie Friends. We are your hosts, Seth and Michelle, and today we are talking about Planet of the Apes from 1968. Directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, written by Rod Serling and Michael Wilson, based on the novel by Pierre Boulle, cinematography by Leon Shamroy, composed by Jerry Goldsmith, prosthetic and makeup effects by John Chambers and Tom Berman, starring Charlton Heston, Kim Hunter, Roddy McDowall, Maurice Evans, and Linda Harrison. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, Seth. How are you? Can you hear my cat meowing?
No, I can't.
Oh, good. You'll hear it when you edit, I'm sure. Niles loves to make appearances when I'm recording, so I just texted husband. I was like, can you please grab Niles?
Come grab Niles.
Yeah, my podcat.
You know what? If ever there was an episode where I think we could let the animal kingdom join us in harmonious union, this one seems like it.
I like that, Seth. I like your enthusiasm around
I feel like
that.
I should have a bird on my shoulder.
Ooh, we need like accessories.
Yeah, animals as accessories.
Right, but not the fur.
Right. I'm excited to talk about this movie.
I am too. I'm very excited.
One of my favorite films of all time.
Is that so? Where is this on your top whatever list?
Yeah, I made a top 150, but I didn't rank them because that's too stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of like put them into groups. So this is like in the science fiction group.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
This is one of my favorite science fiction movies. I don't know that I would say it is my outright favorite, but like I said last episode, when I think of science fiction, I think of Planet of the Apes.
Totally. And that makes sense.
You've got like philosophy, you've got musings on like technology and religion and government, culture, history. You've got great soundtrack. I think it does everything so well. And yeah, I love it. So
I absolutely agree with you, Seth.
wow. It's so nice to hear that.
I honestly, I feel kind of weird saying it, but everything you're saying is true and I agree. So I don't toss it around lightly, as you know.
Before we talk about how right I am, we do have a couple of emails. Man, that was a look.
Uh-huh.
I just got a look right there.
Yeah, you did.
Hey, we got another email from Kate.
Kate, coming through.
I know. I love hearing from Kate.
I know.
She says, "Hi, Seth and Michelle. And this time, your name is not in parentheses. So you've made it." Yep.
Do you think I've graduated?
You've graduated out of the parenthetical.
Cool.
I'm so excited for your episode of Planet of the Apes, which was a family favorite in the Miller household when I was a kid. This was one of my earliest experiences with the kind of shocking plot twist that turns everything upside down, and I loved it. Rewatching now, though, it seems so obvious that they would still be on Earth. The topography, wildlife, and atmosphere of the planet are all familiar, and the apes speak English. So not just Earth, but more specifically the US. What do you think of the ending of this movie? I just rewatched today for the first time in about 20 years and loved it just as much as I remembered. What a great movie.
You know, oh gosh, there's so much to say about that. And I think we'll save my ending thoughts for when we get to the actual ending.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. I think I was just along for the ride and I didn't think too much about it.
I have seen this movie over 10 times. And just last night on my second rewatch, I sent you and Krista a text, which normally I have like a cutoff time. I don't really like to, unless we're all texting, I don't really like to text after like 10. Because I feel
I understand that because we have definitely exchanged texts after 10 p.m.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when you're going, it's like you have like, okay, so if your last text was at 9:55 and it's 10:05, you're within a 10-minute. But nobody wants just a random text message at like 10:45. I feel like you're like,
yeah, but you're a friend. It's not like you're like a coworker. You're in the friend group, Seth.
But you're falling asleep and you're like, your phone goes off and you're like, oh, let me look at this and see. It might be something important. And then it's just Seth saying, why are these monkeys speaking English?
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really thought about that too hard.
Neither did I.
But very good point, Kate. And then yes, we will definitely talk about the ending.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, when people say that they like rewatched a movie because we're doing the episode on it, or they are going back and listening to old episodes, so they're rewatching stuff. That is, to me, like the whole point of this thing is getting people to watch these movies specifically. So it's like it very much warms my heart that people are enjoying these movies.
They understand the assignment.
We also got an email from Ben, and
Ben!
He was responding to our episode on The Fifth Element, and he says,
Oh, boy.
"Coffee 50 cents? I would be rich."
Seriously.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, which I'm pretty sure I've said here before.
Mhm.
So I am rich because I save all my coffee money. He says, "Ruby is my favorite. I kind of think that Mel Gibson would have been better," which is, whoa.
Whoa, that's a statement.
Yeah. And I think that both of us agreed that it wouldn't be horrible.
Right.
Mila is this film, which I agree with that. Gary
Yeah.
Oldman is such a great chameleon, hiding behind his soul patch.
Mm-hmm.
P.S. I like the opera song. P.S.S. Costumes are the best. And P.S.S.S. Devil Wears Prada needs to be on the show.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Gosh, I love that movie.
You know what's wild?
What?
We have not done a Meryl Streep film.
What's wrong with you? You're curating this journey.
I don't know, but let's just say
Is Meryl coming?
Well, we have a couple months coming up where she would definitely fit in. So, but we got to get through October first.
That's okay. You can work Meryl into maybe December.
I'm excited, by the way, to reveal what our October theme is.
I also am excited because I still don't know in our shared notes.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Well, because you have two lists going, and I'm like, which one are we doing?
Got it. Well, I guess I'll be revealing to more than just the audience.
There you go.
So before Michelle watches a film for the first time, she records her pre-watch thoughts. So let's go to those real quick.
I'm pretty sure in Dunstan Checks In, Dunstan is watching TV and Planet of the Apes is on, and maybe he feels some sort of longing or connection to be with humans. I could be totally wrong. It's been a minute since I've watched Dunstan Checks In. The other pop culture reference that I know Planet of the Apes from, since I truly don't really know much about Planet of the Apes, is just from The Simpsons. And it was a musical, right? And like, I just keep saying to myself, Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. And then when they're like, he can talk, he can talk, he can talk. And then the guy goes, I can sing. Right? Planet of the Apes? Let's do this.
So let's just get this out of the way right now at the top of the episode before we forget. The Dr. Zaius musical, Planet of the Apes musical from The Simpsons, season 7, A Fish Called Selma.
Yeah. Yep.
It's great. It's so great.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius. It's such a bop. And then you can't get it out of your head.
Oh, I've had this song stuck in my head since I saw it for the first time as a kid.
Yeah. Did you own the Simpsons CDs? I
did not own the Simpsons CDs, no. So this was like something that you purchased or something that you like made?
No, this is something I purchased, and it was like all the musical numbers from the Simpsons, and I would just play them and sing them and play them and sing them, and this one was like on repeat.
What do you remember any of the other ones?
Yeah, the one with Lisa and the saxophone player, and it's her birthday.
Oh, Bleeding Gums?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, wait. Happy birthday, Lisa.
Lisa.
That's
Lisa. It's your birthday.
That's the Michael Jackson character.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The the Masonaries. Who made Steve Gutenberg a star? We do. And they like.
I don't remember that one.
Not the. What are they? The I'm like drawing a blank, but like it's always Steve Gutenberg, and then I always picture that scene.
Right. The Stonecutter
Yeah.
or
But
whatever
they're
they
like
call
part
it.
of like a masonry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so this one was always on repeat. And I obviously knew it was Planet of the Apes, but that's why I was like, I've seen so much of it in pop culture. I just never like
Yes.
seen the whole movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many lines from this movie are taken over and over and over, used in pop culture. The ending, of course. So I rewatched the Simpsons episode last night.
I did too. You
Yeah.
inspired me. It's so good.
It's really, really good. And if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. Season
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
You'll get a big kick out of maybe not the whole episode, but definitely the Planet of the Apes musical
No,
section.
you should watch the whole episode. I mean, Troy McClure, you have to watch the whole episode.
All right, I'm going to give you a setup. Ready? You got to finish it.
Oh, no, please don't make me like finish what Troy McClure would say.
Ready?
Such films as. Don't do it.
He can talk. He can talk. He can talk. He can talk.
I can sing.
Okay. We've got that out of the way.
We got to move on.
Now we can move on. I would have kicked myself if we finished the episode and we were like, no,
Yeah.
we didn't mention Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
I mean, it's in my pre-watch thoughts, but
Right.
yeah. Seth,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What?
before we continue, you forgot
Yeah.
to mention our little giveaway.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's right. Hey, we're doing a giveaway, by the way.
Mhm.
I'm here to say.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
I didn't have anything after that. If you would like the show and you want to give us a rating and a review, and you do it on Apple iTunes, and you do it on Apple Podcasts, right?
Yes, Apple Podcast, Seth.
Anytime now to December 1st, you're entered into a drawing for a $50 Visa gift card that you can use for whatever you want. You can buy a Simpsons CD and listen to it. You can buy, I don't know,
Homer slippers, because I had those.
Homer slippers. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you've already given us a review, you're already entered into the drawing, so don't worry about it.
Wow. Easy
Anyway.
peasy.
Okay, so what did you think about this movie?
I liked it.
Okay.
A lot.
We're done.
That's it. Thanks so much for listening to Movie Friends. You'd like to support the show. No, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I have no notes. Meaning, I mean, I have notes.
Yes.
But I have like no edit notes. You messaged me before I started the movie and you're like, you have to live text me as I watch. And I
Yes.
started sweating and I was like, wait, what? Really? Now I have to type my notes to you and type my notes into the notes app? That was a lot, Seth. But I did give my thoughts as I watched.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you wish this was a movie we watched together. Together. Why so?
Well, normally for the show, we don't really communicate a lot about the movie. But with this one, I just love it so much. And also, like I said last episode, I kind of was prepared for you to love it or hate it. And I would have been fine with either one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can't wait. Like, there's no way that that she can watch this movie, see the ending, and then I don't know for like days and days. And so I was like, let's just break the little illusion here, and I want to hear what she's thinking as we're going.
Yeah, Ant watched it with me for the most part, and then he fell asleep. And you were like, well, this is a good time to fall asleep.
Yeah.
It was like, and I was like, but no, I don't want you to be asleep. I'm still saying my commentary. So I just kept talking.
Right.
Into the abyss.
I think that you can look at this movie and you can have criticisms of it that are valid. I think that some parts are paced a little slowly.
I guess I mean, for me, who usually is like, let's speed this up, it's taking forever. My boring old rhetoric that I keep saying every episode. I didn't feel that way. I felt it was pretty well paced. Like, I wasn't bored at all because I was waiting to see what was going to happen. So it kept my attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps my attention too. But I love this movie so much. Uh, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I watched an entire documentary
I know. I
just
still
on
want
the
to
makeup
watch
team.
that. I want to watch that so bad.
So, that's an hour and a half of information just on the team that did the makeup. But I think like at the top of my curiosity is kind of like,
Mhm.
what did you think about Taylor?
It's kind of a dick,
Yeah.
TBH.
Yeah.
He was so like, okay, the first shot, right? He's talking,
Hmm.
and maybe you'll fill this in for me. Was he talking back to Earth? Was he just recording himself as like an audio diary? What was that?
As far
Or was it just to fill the audience in? I mean, I know he wasn't talking to us, but
Yeah. Their mission was to go to a new planet.
right.
They were not like, oh, we're going to travel around and then like return to Earth. They were intending to go to a new planet and colonize it. And so he is given his last transmission to Earth,
Got it.
which it's 6 months in his time. But at that point, it had been like 700 years or something.
Which was so crazy to like truly think about.
Yeah.
I kind of just had to let that go.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, traveling at the speed of light. The closer you get to the speed of light, time slows down.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I like can't compute it. I like spaz out. I'm like, I don't understand it. Anyway, so he's speaking, and the first thing that caught me was him smoking.
Yes.
I was just like, oh, it's truly that the 60s are showing here, truly,
Mm-hmm.
that even in this workplace, we are smoking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This does not seem safe.
You're in a totally sterile, clean,
Yep.
smooth
Yep.
inside of a spaceship
Yep.
that is
Light it
hurtling
up,
through
boys.
space at close to the speed of light. I don't know that you're having air going in and out. Like, I don't know where this smoke is going. I guess you got real cool filtrate. They figured it out. I wouldn't think that they would be concerned with filtration systems for cigar smoke, but they were like, "Hey, we got Taylor on this thing. We got to make sure we got somewhere for the smoke to go." Yeah, and so he's just giving his last transmission to Earth of like, the crew is asleep. I'm going to sleep now. The next time you'll hear from us, whatever.
The long sleep.
The long sleep, and I kind of love what he says to them. One, he does kind of give away a little bit what's happening on Earth, even though he's completely unaware. He says, "You who are reading me now are a different breed, maybe a better one."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "Space is boundless and it squashes a man's ego. I feel lonely. Does man still make war against his brother and keep his neighbor's children starving?" So Taylor he's a jerk. He's arrogant. When they land, he is just riding Landon like crazy, just like bullying him for, you know, I don't know, being a scientist and and an explorer, like. And he's so certain the whole time that like he knows what's going on. He knows what's going on. And it's finally at the end where he kind of, the twist happens and he realizes like, oh, all of my calculations were off and I was wrong. And we're actually back here. We're not, we didn't travel somewhere else.
Right. Okay. Before we continue, this stuck with me so much so, and I don't know why it's taking up so much of my brain space. The woman on board.
Yes.
What a great role. Can you imagine being casted and you're like, hey, you're just going to sleep. You're just going to sleep. Show up for a day. You get to be in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
You were supposed to carry on the civilization. Like, give her a backstory.
Yeah.
But she just has to lay there. I'm like,
yep.
That's a way to get into a movie.
Stewart. Now, just practically speaking.
Yeah.
If you have a 4-person mission, aren't you sending 2 men and 2 women?
You would think, but men are gross. So, like, and, no pressure here. You have to carry on. Who knows if you're going to have trouble getting pregnant.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I would
Right.
kind of think 4 women and some frozen sperm, honestly, is your best
Sure.
bet.
Also, like, and then doesn't it just become incestual at some point?
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Well, right. Again, that took up a lot of
20 women and some frozen.
yeah, at some point. But yeah, okay. So Taylor is like really pretentious
Yeah.
and full of himself and
Yeah.
arrogant. And I'm like following along and we're going through and Judge, and his name's Judge, right?
Dodge.
Judge.
Yeah.
Let's call him Judge.
Yeah.
So we got Judge. What's the other one's name, Seth?
Landon.
Okay,
Yes.
so we got Dodge and we got Landon. And then we get this maniacal laugh.
Mm-hmm. When Landon plants the flag.
Yes. And I looked at Ant and I was like, what kind of movie is this? This seemed so weird. Because at this point, it doesn't seem like we're in this type of movie. And he like breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
What do we have background on this? What is this?
He's just laughing at like the futility of Landon like proudly planting the American flag on this planet that they crash landed on, because this is not the planet that they intended in landing on.
I get that.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Was this Charlton Heston's choice? Was this the director?
I don't know. It's
was this the DP? Like
fun...
what happened here?
Right. It's a very kind of jarring shot. It is a little goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just throw your head back and cackle.
It just didn't seem like it was that type of movie. And then it doesn't really continue in that kind of way.
No.
Well, I guess I mean, there are little cheesy parts with the, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Yes.
But that's kind of different.
I'm
that's
okay
different than
with those.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too.
It changes the feel of the movie a little bit.
I also love that, like, we're jumping all over here, but for 1967, I feel like it looks pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
And I also love how much it does look like a set.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the exteriors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like when we're in with the cages and when we're having the trial or whatever, and even when we're on the spaceship, like it looks fake. And I love that. I live for that. I told Seth, I'm like, I don't want to do any movies with CGI. Screw your CGI. Keep it. However, if someone can make me into a CGI movie, I'm into it.
Okay. Only Michelle CGI is allowed.
Right. Make me do cool shit. Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more impressed with this than...
I agree. I've been saying it for 9 months now. Practical trumps CGI every single time.
Yeah.
Because even if what you're looking at looks fake, you're still looking at something that is there. Where CGI, there's nothing there. They're creating it. And so yeah, and I mean, this is a great example of how you don't look at these people wearing monkey faces and think that's a monkey, right? It's its own thing. It's its own, right? They don't look exactly like monkeys.
Right.
But you can do it practically, and I don't need to be looking at a monkey to be put into this story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like the threshold for enjoyment is not realism.
No, and you accept it because it's all cohesive. So if it's like, if this is what this civilization looks like, okay, I accept that.
Right.
It's not like one looks more than the other.
And that's one thing that I do really love about this movie. This movie was based on a French book. And the book and most of the scripts and drafts prior to filming, it takes place in like a modern to futuristic city. And so the apes, it's like skyscrapers and things like that. The Planet of the Apes that we get on the screen, it's a strange in between place for technology because they're not like stone tools, right? They have metal, they have guns,
Right.
and it's not like musket loaders, like guns have been around for, I think Remington's like a 500-year-old company at this point or something crazy like that. Guns have been around forever, but it's not like they have muskets, They're living in like clay hut kind of a thing, but then when you go inside the buildings, they're ornamental. It's just a real strange setting that you can't really say, oh, Planet of the Apes takes place during this time period of like human civilization, because it's not human civilization. And
Right.
one thing that I see people knock is the whole idea of like, well, if they had, the technology to do X, Y, and Z, like why don't they believe in any like flight? Like the whole paper airplane scene like totally blows their mind, right? To me, I just take it as like these evolved monkeys have different aspirations and desires and a culture and drive than what we have.
Right. It's just a different way of thinking and being, and it doesn't make one smarter than the other.
Yeah. And they're very, very sequestered. Like there's the forbidden zone and then there's their jungle. And like on the map that they show, it's not like they're like, oh, this is the start of monkey country and it stretches for 3,000 miles to the west coast. Like it kind of seems like, as far as they're aware, they are like it.
Well, okay. So going into this, right? Planet
Yeah.
of the Apes, there's going to be apes or some sort of
Sure.
variation, right? And so I'm watching this and I texted you, Seth, and I don't know if this confused you, but I'm like, oh my God, finally, we're getting some apes. And then I'm like, wait a minute, these are not apes. These are people. I was so confused. I was like, where are the apes? Who are they? What's happening?
Yeah,
and then Ant's like, what do you mean? They're coming. And I was like, no. So that threw me.
The people, the humans, they're obscured from sight for a long time. You see them like running along the cliffs as the astronauts are walking through. And then when they're skinny dipping, which is so funny to me, you see like their stuff being taken and you don't know at this point that it's like humans who are doing it. Yeah. So I can see, you're all geared up for Planet of the Apes, not Planet of the Apes and people.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed where we went with this and the story, but I was like, what's happening? I thought this was Planet of the Apes. There's people here?
Yeah. And like, so we're not going to talk about any of the sequels, but this series has several sequels. There was a TV show, there was an animated TV show. They did a reboot in 2001 that did not really get off the ground. And then they just did a trilogy that's kind of like a prequel to this. It's different. There's some differences, but yeah.
So we find out how this all came to be?
Yes, in a way. Yeah.
Because that's what I want to know. That's what I'm most interested in.
Right.
Not so much what happens at the end. I'm like, how did we get here?
Right.
How did Dr. Zaius become Dr. Zaius? What about Zira?
Right. What university did he get his accreditation from?
That's what I want to know. Zira and Cornelius. When did you guys meet? You're adorable. That kiss? Oh my God, the kissing.
Yes.
Dead.
Yes.
I love it. I love it so much.
Just smashing two C's together.
It's great. It's so good.
How did you feel? I had this in my notes for later, but since we're on the subject of monkey kissing, how did you feel about Taylor at the end saying, I'd like to kiss you goodbye?
What was that?
I don't know. I have no explanation.
Again, was this in the script? Was this Charlton Heston?
Yeah.
This was in the script? It seems so strange. And I'm like, is this what we did in the 60s?
Well, it's not like they're not like human ape chimp like hybrids. Like these are just chimps. So if you were hanging out with a chimp that could talk for a few days, even if it saved your life, at the end of it, would you be like, well, I'd like to kiss you goodbye
No.
on the lips?
No, I'd hug. I would hug and thank.
I don't
Maybe
know that.
shake a hand.
I'd give a fist. I'd give a
A fist,
pound.
sure, but like, I'd like to kiss you. And then poor Zira, she's just like, but you're so damn ugly. And I was like, I know this line. Like she still went along with it. Like it's such a weird scene. It's so weird.
But it's great. I mean,
No, it's great.
And her response, like her line there is so great. Like I would, yeah, sure. Like I'm okay with kissing you, but wow, you are the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
You're gross.
Also, quick little side note.
Yeah.
When they get to the dig site,
yeah,
Taylor is shaving with shaving cream.
Yeah, where did that come from? I also was wondering that. Where did he get that?
Because I know that, it's like, oh, up in this cave, there's all these like artifacts that we've never. Am I to believe that there was a can of like Barbasol?
There's
chilling?
No way. And then my thought, I was like, oh, maybe it was in his kit, and they let him have the kit. I'm like, you didn't show that.
But
he had like 3 days of
did
food.
they ever recover the kit?
Right. I don't know.
Because the humans took the kit in the beginning, not the apes.
I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the shaving cream came from.
We do see the guard smoking one of his cigars.
Oh, is that true?
Yes.
Maybe
and
I
so
missed that.
maybe we're supposed to kind of just understand that they confiscated everything and yeah, Cornelius and Zira and Lucius got it at the end. So it's possible. But again, like, okay, so you are packing for 4 space explorers to colonize a new planet. And in their backpack that includes a gun with limited ammunition, food and water for only 3 days. Somewhere in there, there's shaving cream?
You gotta look good. You gotta look good. Clearly.
It's insane.
I mean, again, it's pretty wild.
Don't think about it. It's sci-fi.
You can't think about it. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this makeup here. I don't want to say saves this movie because I don't think this movie really needs saving, but this makeup, the prosthetics, it elevates this movie to something timeless and iconic and so much better than just the story. Like if you had done full face masks or makeup and glued on little bits of hair here and there, and you're telling me this is an evolved ape, I'd be like, okay, fine, whatever. But how these look and how you can see the character through all of the prosthetics, it's mind-blowing. And it's like, it's hard to think of prosthetics that hold up as good as this. You know what I mean? Like it's 2023, we're talking about 1967, 68. And of course they're not real. Like again, like we don't look at it and you're like, oh my God, a monkey.
You don't want it to look real. It wouldn't make sense if it was a monkey in a suit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
These are humanized. It just, the makeup is amazing.
Yeah, and that's something that the Tim Burton movie in 2001 really changed.
Tim Burton did one?
Yeah, that's the one from 2001, the Planet of the Apes.
I cannot imagine Tim Burton. It must be so different. It must be real weird.
Different. It stars Mark Wahlberg, which people really, really hated.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to drop a bombshell right now.
You don't like Tim Burton?
No. I watched the 2001 Planet of the Apes in the theaters. And you know what? I didn't hate it.
Oh, is that a bomb to be dropped, Seth?
Yeah.
That was real lame. That was
for
so
you,
lame.
That might not be a bomb to be dropped. But for the listeners, they are screaming, crying, throwing up right now.
Why?
Because people hate it. But one of the things that was very different was Burton's apes and chimps they behave much more like animals. So
Okay.
they're like hunched down, their hands are curled in, they're kind of like
Right.
heaving. Yeah, it's not like a nice regal dude walking around in a robe who just
Right.
happens to have a monkey face.
Is it the same story?
It's different. It's different. And what I will say is the ending of Tim Burton's that people hated. They were like, "This is a way worse ending." Is the original ending from the book?
Which is
Well, I don't want to give spoilers for Tim
no
Burton's.
spoiler alert. Now you can say it.
All right, fine. Spoiler alert for Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Basically, the main character gets back to Earth, but when he gets back to like modern Earth, it's all apes and it's all like run by apes.
So he didn't land on Earth.
He did, but like in the future. But when he goes back in time, like through the wormhole, it's like
Oh,
Earth of, the year 2000, but everyone is apes.
that's kind of a mind fuck.
Yeah, and people hated it, but again, in their defense, that was the original ending.
I was also reading there was, and I guess maybe they do this in the next one. I could be wrong though, that Nova was going to be pregnant.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what
So,
I was reading.
also
Yeah.
full disclosure, I love this first one so much, and I've seen bits and pieces of the direct sequels to this one. I've never pursued any of them because it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, they'll ruin the first one for me, because that's not a real thing. It's just I can't imagine them being this good.
Well, regardless if it's good or not, don't you like this is an interesting story.
Yeah, but to me, it's over. To me, the story is over.
Oh, I
The
see.
story is like to me, the story is it's not about like preventing nuclear war because it happens when they're not even on the planet.
Right.
He can't
Right.
he can't leave the planet. He can't travel back in time. He is now stuck there. And like the arc for me is Taylor is a jerk and he explains to Landon, I'm not running away from humans. I'm just looking for something that's better than them.
Right.
And so he goes full circle to realize like, oh, like I am home and like I do miss my home and I did care about all those people and there is nothing else out there. There is nothing better out there.
So you're not curious of like how we came to be, what happens with Taylor,
Not really.
Nova.
I know because I've seen like the majority of the second one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Back to the makeup situation.
Yes. Yes.
I read that Kim Hunter had to take a Valium every day to sit through
Oh,
that makeup application.
oh my gosh.
Whoa. Wow.
I can't imagine. So the makeup team, they worked around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
There would be one shift that was up baking the pieces to be
Mm-hmm.
used each day because I didn't realize that these were not reusable.
I didn't know that either.
So
That's insane.
they're making stuff around the clock to be applied early in the morning. Some of the prosthetic team, their call time was 2 a.m. John Chambers, he was great with prosthetics. They hire him to do it. And his apprentice is Tom Berman. They work on the effects together. Tom Berman has a big hand in how the prosthetic faces will look. And it's like we already mentioned, it's not quite ape. It's not quite human ape. It's its own thing, right? And so they assemble a team of makeup artists, and several of them had never worked in prosthetics before, which when you look at the final product, it's like, how is that possible? How is that possible?
Wow.
They just trained them and taught them, they taught them how to do it. And they worked incredibly hard. The actors, once they were wearing it, it was very difficult to eat.
Yeah, they had to do
And
liquids, right? Liquid
yeah,
only.
they told a story in the documentary, which by the way, the documentary referred to is called Making Apes. It's currently streaming on Tubi. It's pretty interesting, especially if you're interested in any type of makeup effects or like behind the scenes stuff, or if you're interested in Planet of the Apes. There was a scene where one of the gorillas was on horseback and the actor had to open their mouth really wide and the whole bottom of their jaw just fell off and peas fell out because as the person was eating, peas were just like accumulating in the bottom jaw. And so I think it was John Chambers was just like, no more food. Like no one is allowed to eat while wearing these. And so yeah, they changed completely to like milkshakes in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild to look at those behind the scene photos of them in between takes because they just have their face on, but they're like smoking a cigarette or they're in
Mm-hmm.
their normal clothing before they change into costume. It's pretty funny.
What's crazy about this too is this movie is not set in like Antarctica or even like a lot of like mostly indoor stuff. We're in like the desert. They're in the desert wearing this stuff. And
Yeah.
you've been awake. You've already been awake for like a good part of an entire workday just having this stuff applied onto you. And then you have to go and do a day's shoot.
Then you have to act
Yes. And act well. I think
and
everyone
emote.
is really good in this movie.
Everybody is so good and makes you feel things.
I
It's
love
just so good.
love Cornelius.
Yeah.
Love Zira.
Yeah.
Lucius is really funny and definitely a character of the time. You know, he's supposed to be like a young counterculturalist and
Yep.
he's disenchanted with the government and the leadership and the way things go. And Charlton Heston says to him, "Remember, don't trust anybody under 30." Just so funny. But I give him a pass because he's kind of I don't know how to say it. He's just a quirky little kid, you know.
Oh, I love him. He's great.
But I love Dr. Zaius. And like watching it this time around, I was just like, what a scumbag, but also so scary.
Is he a scumbag or is he just one that knows information? Because at the end, I think, is just trying to protect his own.
And you can say that and that's part of protecting people, but it's fear. Like Taylor says to him in
Yeah.
that awesome scene after the the trial that's not a trial because
Right,
he's not
right,
an ape and so ape law
right.
does not apply to him. In that scene where they're talking one-on-one in Zaius's office, Heston's arms are behind his back. He's holding onto a pole that's going up his spine, connected to a choker that's around his neck. And so if he lets his hands down, it pulls on his neck. And so if you stood with your arms behind your back and put your hands as high up your shoulders as you could, like just try to hold that
Should we do that
position.
right now?
I mean, I'm doing it right now and it's super uncomfortable.
I can't even get there. So,
But like
yeah.
it's really uncomfortable and to hold that position and clearly he's not actually bound up in it, but I was really impressed with him in that scene. But he says to Zaius, he's like, look, you can do brain surgery on me and you can castrate me and you can do all this stuff, but you're doing it out of fear, and you need to remember that, like, you're not doing it out of like a love for science or justice. You're doing it because you're afraid. Like, I make you afraid.
Yeah, he's a threat. Absolutely.
Yeah. And at the end, we get the fantastic reading from Cornelius. Cornelius reads the text from Zaius's pocket that says, I wrote it down here: "Beware the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn. Alone among God's primates, he kills for sport or lust or greed. Yea, he will murder his brother to possess his brother's land. Let him not breed in great numbers, for he will make a desert of his home and yours. Shun him, drive him back into his jungle lair, for he is the harbinger of death."
Is he wrong?
Well, right. And so Zaius, knowing like, yes, there used to be a civilization of men that predates apes. Like,
Yeah.
I know this, and man is the one who caused his own destruction. And so we need to exterminate him. I mean, towards the beginning of the movie, Zaius says, he's like, I don't know why we keep these things around. And, the quicker they're exterminated, the better. And
Yeah.
yeah. But like Zaius's whole stance, it seems so harsh and like it seems so outlandish, but like a lot of the language that's used in that text, those are talking points that are used about any people group on Earth that we are not okay with. Like they're going to bring destruction and they're going to bring disease, and they, oh, these people are so terrible, they even kill their neighbors. Meanwhile, we're all guilty of the same thing. And Taylor, in the beginning, as he's musing on his recording, like I read earlier, he says, does man still make war against his brother and keep his neighbor's children starving? It's an interesting, outlandish, over the top look, but I think it's something that we can learn from and should be a mirror of our own prejudices. Rod Serling, he was the one who did like many drafts of this. I saw 24
Wow.
drafts from Rod Serling, who had won, I think, either 5 or 6 Emmys for The Twilight Zone, which I don't know if you were a Twilight Zone kid, but shout out to The Twilight Zone.
Right. Shout out to those kids, but we've talked about this. I wasn't.
It's one of the greatest TV shows ever made.
I think I've seen like 2 episodes on like New Year's Eve or whatever, New Year's Day.
Yeah, when they run the big marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you talk about a Patreon show, oh my God.
I would be into that.
Because, a miniseries? Maybe even on the main show.
Yeah, that could be fun on the main show.
Twilight Zone miniseries. Because they're short, but they're like deep. Real deep.
Or maybe you cover like the top 10 episodes or something. There's got to be the best.
Hey, if you want to hear us do a Twilight Zone miniseries, let us know. moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Michelle would love to talk about television, so.
I would. I'm really trying to get this more of TV based.
And especially after this movie, knowing it's the same guy involved. So anyway, just a great movie with a great message. And also, like you asked me, like, is Zaius a scumbag? I definitely think that he is, because he has this like position in the government of like the minister of science, but also like the defender of the faith. And this movie also is a really good look at how organized religion can, for their own benefit, snuff out like scientific research and like fact-based just reality. And that can go into every facet of life. Anything that doesn't line up can't just be wrong, or it can't be separate, or it can't be discussed. It has to not even exist. And Zaius, he betrays Zira and Cornelius at the end. Like, he's like, if you can prove to me that this, that, and the other. And they do it. And then as soon as Taylor's gone, he's like, arrest these people.
And
put them on trial for heresy.
And blow up the cave.
And
because
let's blow up the cave.
We can't have proof of this. We can't have this happen again.
And so the Forbidden Zone thing, it kind of goes 2 ways. Because one, it's forbidden to go there because apparently, there's just giant statues poking out of the ground, and there's caves where there's baby dolls hanging out. But also, the lawgiver who wrote their like sacred texts or whatever, it says like, hey, nothing can live here. Well, why can nothing live there? Because nuclear fallout. You know what I mean? If there was, nuclear bombs going off there, it's literally like, don't go to this area. You will die.
So in the other movies, do we see the form of their civilization and these rules being written?
I can't speak to the full series because I only know the details of a few of them.
Got it. Okay.
But there's some time travel involved. There's some different things. Yeah.
Now, Charlton Heston didn't continue on, right?
He is in the second one.
He is in the second one. But then after that, he was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he was a huge part of this movie getting made. He wanted this movie to get made. He signed on, he wanted to star in it, and he was very involved. The budget was originally, I can't remember. The budget was originally like higher, and it was seen as like a really big risk because ultimately movies like this, early to late 60s sci-fi creature features, this is a dime a dozen. This could have been in the B movie dustbin of history with films that we've never heard of.
Right.
And so to put this big of a budget on and to have the creatures be at the forefront, making up the majority of the cast, it was like a huge gamble for 20th Century Fox. And it wasn't quite the thing of like, hey, if Planet of the Apes doesn't work out, we're like going to go out of business. But it was like, this better work kind of a thing. And so Heston, he had a real big part in like getting it funded and making it into like a serious project. Because he had done the 10 Commandments.
Right.
He was a serious, he was a big guy of big epic films.
Yeah. That's pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Nova?
Absolutely.
What
Speaking
are your
of 20th
thoughts?
Century Fox, she's part of the family who owned 20th Century Fox.
Is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
I did not know that about Linda Harrison. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Nova?
A lot of criticism for this is like, oh, the woman doesn't talk. It's like, no, incorrect. The woman does talk. It's just that she is a monkey. Zira is, to me, like the second lead of this film.
Yeah.
It's just the humans don't talk. So, of course, Nova doesn't talk.
Yeah, that definitely was not my note with her. Yeah. I thought it's another talk about acting role, incredible to really just be physical acting, emote acting, no speaking. Mm-hmm. I liked Nova, but it was Taylor's need for her. But then I'm like, a man's got needs and a woman's got needs, and we got to, keep it going.
Well, there's a lot of how we treat animals is how they treat them. And so it's like,
right.
Hey, Bright Eyes, look, I've got a mate for you. And like everyone's like ribbing each other like, that's how we treat animals.
Sure. We just have to breed, and too good looking will make good looking, right? I think it was like, it didn't seem like he took to her, and then all of a sudden they're like spooning in the cage, and he was like, you're the only one who listens to me. And I was like, when? It just felt fast for me.
Yes. A lot of things feel fast. Like, for example, Taylor gets burned in the shoulder when they're fighting, and you see the burn in the next scene, and then gradually it's just like gone. And it's like, how long? What's going on here? Because it kind of feels like this is 24 hours that he's like,
I know,
being held captive, but it could be longer. They also perform a lobotomy on Landon, and he's up and walking around, and I don't know what the recovery time is like on that, but they had time to stuff Dodge and put him into the museum.
Oh, man. Yeah. But I think they had those two. They knew, like, we got to get rid of those two fast.
Well, yeah, they're trying to suppress.
Yeah.
You can't have multiple humans walking around and talking.
Yeah, no. Not good.
Yeah, Linda Harrison was originally in the Kim Hunter role of Zira. And I can't remember why the two switched. But yeah, I think that she does great. And I think, I think that people are kind of unnecessarily hard on her as Nova.
It wasn't, like I said, I don't have a problem with Nova. It's like how Taylor reacted to Nova.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like Linda, what a babe. Like the most gorgeous.
Yeah, they should have called her Bright Eyes.
Oh my God. Gorgeous. I have a crush on her.
We have to talk about the soundtrack to this film. Impeccable, amazing, groundbreaking, beautiful, insane, scary. Like the music is scary in this.
Yeah.
Just the drum, like
yeah.
Like it's so good. And Jerry
Just like that.
Goldsmith. It's just like that. That's Jerry Goldsmith. He's a composer for this movie. He had requested at one point while they're recording that they bring him an ape mask that he could wear. And so there's photos of him, like, he was like, I want to wear it for inspiration as we're working on the music, which was like, I was like, that is so funny.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, it's very, again, it's like another thing where if you replace the soundtrack to this movie, it's just not as good. It's not as serious. And like, even though you have the man see, man do, and you have the hear no evil, speak no evil part, like this movie is very serious. No one, and that's one thing that they said. They were like, if we show the test footage of this and people laugh at the apes, it's all over. Like we're, you know, like if the apes come on screen and people are laughing at them and like, look at, you know, look how that looks. But they did the test screening and they're like, nobody laughed. Everybody was into it right away. And I feel, I mean, the reveal of these apes is crazy. You're in like this cornfield and you just see these like long sticks like swatting down and like something is coming and like you don't know what. You see,
and they're riding horses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so scary.
It's very scary.
It's animal riding animal. It's scary.
You get the zoom in on the jungle and you hear that great like wah, wah, screech from the beat. I just broke my throat doing that. Wowie zowie. Reminded me, obviously, you know, the first episode of Lost when they're looking at the jungle and you're hearing all those, right?
Yeah.
But it's terrifying. And when they come on screen, it's not goofy. It's not something that you can like look at. Like you watch a lot of old monster movies. I mean, I watch a lot of old monster movies and sometimes you see like the thing in the rubber mask and you're like, okay, like, okay, sure. Yeah. I'm supposed to be, you know, afraid of that. But in this, it's like, nope, I accept it. I accept that these are characters. And like I said, you can see each one individually. They're not all just wearing the same face.
Right.
So Jerry Goldsmith, he also did the music for one of your favorites, Logan's Run.
Nice.
Yes. I mean, awesome. Really, really, really great filmography here from him. He did the science fiction film Seconds. He did The Omen. He did the music for Alien. He did the Brendan Fraser Mummy. Music for the original animated Disney film Mulan. Like, just great.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really, really awesome.
Our man gets around.
Love the soundtrack to this movie. So we're here. Zayas blows up the cave. Taylor takes off and he's like, I'm going to look for a jungle beyond the forbidden zone. Give me some food for 5 days will be okay. And just, you know, just takes off. And then we get the ending. So.
Well, wait. Before we get the ending, it's just a lot of shots of him and Nova on a horse. And we're close shot. And then we zoom all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
And Rem's like, okay, we're still on the beach, though. Mm-hmm. I could have done without all of those.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like luring you into a sense of like, it's over. Like they're riding off into the sunset.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
It just went on for a little
And you texted me. You were like, man, this ending. And then you're like, no, wait, we found something. And then there was like silence for several minutes. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wait, is this the Statue of Liberty? And I said that. And then Ant woke up and he's like, oh, yeah, you didn't know that? And I was like, you did? And he was like, yeah, since the beginning. And he's like, also, like, I've seen it in The Simpsons. And that's what I was going to say. Like, I've obviously seen that episode of The Simpsons that we spoke about and sung about, but it didn't register. And the whole time I wasn't thinking like, oh, let me think of where he is and could he be on Earth? I don't know. I wasn't concerned with that.
Well, in the beginning, he says that. He says, you're 320 light years from Earth on an unnamed planet in the year is 3978. And he keeps saying, like, everything you've ever loved is dust. It's gone. He's just so gleeful and weird. It's like, oh, maybe we should check to see if there was a serial killer on board with us or something. He's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, they feed you all this info. And so why would you think that you're on Earth? The movie's called Planet of the Apes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that's what Aunt was like. I knew it was Earth the whole time. I was like, you were asleep for half of it. So,
So what did you think?
I think, well, for one, I think it's impressive if we could just talk about behind the scenes of it, because it was the first thing I looked up when the movie ended.
Yeah.
Of like, how did we do this? And how it was like a matte painting.
Yep.
That they layered, which is insane to me. And then also, like, this whole time you've been searching for something greater, yet here you are. You are just in Earth, on
Yep.
Earth, so to speak. And a greater civilization did end up taking over.
Yep.
So now what? And I guess
Right.
that leads to the second movie.
Yeah, and the movie is a tragedy, right?
Yeah.
And so it's for the audiences in 1968, where nuclear war is very much on everyone's minds.
Mm-hmm.
Less on our minds nowadays,
Right.
And it's supposed to be a warning. Like, it's a warning to, like, hey, this is what could happen. You want to be ruled by monkeys? No? Nuclear disarmament right now, then.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of the ending?
It's one of the best endings ever. It's one of those things that you see when you see it for the first time that you're just like, it's a gut punch. Throughout the whole movie, Taylor says, damn you, right? Multiple times to many different people for many different things. He says, get your stinking hands off me, you damn dirty ape.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this idea of like damnation, right? He's not just saying like, damn. Like, he's literally saying like, damn you, damn you, damn you. And here at the end, when he like finally breaks down, he turns his damnation from how the apes are treating the people back to the people of the earth that he left. And he says, God damn you to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a distinction. I never really picked up on it until watching it 2 times in a row. But it's like, here we are. This is the last man from Earth who has survived, right? From our time into the future. And his message, his final, transmission to the people of Earth is, damn you for what you've done. And what you've done is blew it all up. You've destroyed everything. So yeah, it's a warning, and I love it. I remember watching this for the first time at my aunt's house. Shout out to Aunt Olga.
Aunt Olga.
Yeah, I remember watching a few movies at her house.
Nice.
That I don't want to say I wasn't supposed to watch, because she was cool. She wasn't like trying to be like, hey, let's watch stuff your parents wouldn't let you watch. But I remember watching Planet of the Apes at her house and just being like, what? Like, what? And it blew my young mind.
Yeah.
I think this and Return of the Jedi are the 2 twist endings that like mainstream pop culture have been chasing forever. You know what I mean? Like, in 1999, you get The Sixth Sense, which was another really great twist. And of course, there are other great twists throughout film history, but like that thing where it's laid out for you and there's obvious signs of it, so that when you rewatch it, like Don Draper a second time in a row, you can pick up on, oh yes, this has been Earth the whole time. And these are the comments that they've been making that make the whole thing cohesive and make sense. That's the type of twist that they've been, filmmakers have been chasing forever.
So in the second one, and as the story goes on, is it more so because if Taylor leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just, do we find more humans? Do more astronauts land? Or are we out of this time, and then maybe we have some of the apes and the people getting together to form a different, like a species.
What if I said all of the above?
Okay, I accept it. I knew what I was asking when I started this. I'm like,
Oh no, I'm not being sarcastic.
I know you're not. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
that's a movie for another time. I also love, and this is something I didn't notice until I saw someone else point it out. The music does not play over the ending. You just hear the sound of the ocean coming in and out, the waves coming out, and over the credits, you just hear the sound of the ocean coming in and out, and it's like, oh my god!
I loved this. It's so eerie, but it's so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Let the Earth's elements fully make you feel on what just happened.
Yep. And it's like, the washing in and out of the tide, that's representative of obviously like time passing, but also like the cleansing force of nature. And like, it's amazing. It's one of the best. It's one of the best endings ever. It's
good. It's really good.
Real quick note before I get into like the super facts of this movie. John Chambers was hired by the CIA to make quick change makeup kits for undercover agents.
Really?
Yes. He was also involved in the events that the film Argo depicted, where they had to get the Canadian like ambassadors out of this country, and John Goodman plays him in that movie. Yeah, he was like real deal important,
Wow.
Dude.
That's cool.
So this movie was made for $5.8 million, makes $33.3 million.
Nice.
I think the original budget was 10. I believe the original budget was 10. So they were able to get it like way down. It's got 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.0 Letterboxd, only 79 on Metacritic, which seemed like kind of low.
Really?
Yeah. And this was included in the National Film Registry in 2001. Roger Ebert gave this 3 out of 4. And his review, like when it first came out, it's really interesting. It was basically like, hey, stop being stuck up and go see this sci-fi movie called Planet of the Apes. Like towards the beginning, he's like, the people who are going to see this, they're already going to see it. So I'm writing to all of you who are not going to see it because you would not be caught dead in a movie theater seeing a movie called Planet of the Apes.
Sure.
And again, it's like this movie walked a line of B-movie trash, just sci-fi fodder, and it just excelled and exceeded in every way possible to become what it is. So we reached out to some friends on Twitter to ask them what they thought. Our friend from Wales, Michael, at Michael Lee Louis 4. Michael. Oi, Mikey. Oh, that's Australian.
Yeah, that's not right, Seth. What would be Wales?
I don't know. A Welsh accent.
I know that, but like how...
We'll study up. We'll get back to you.
Okay.
He says, you mentioned this was one of your favorite movies. What do you think of the remakes? And like I said, I don't hate the Tim Burton remake, and I have rewatched it in recent years. It doesn't come close to what this is. It's much bigger. I think they try to do a lot more. The prosthetics still look really great. They get Rick Baker to do the prosthetics for it, and I think it's amazing. I think that it still looks really great, but it falls a little flat. And then I did really like the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes trilogy that just came out. Andy Serkis plays the lead. It's all motion capture. That also looks good, but man, give me people in ape suits, please. Like that's all that I want. You already know that it's successful and that people love it. Just give me that.
Also, like, why do we have to do it?
Yeah, I agree. Make a new movie.
Let it be. Right. Make a new movie.
Planet of the
Cats.
Yeah.
And not Cats.
And not Cats the musical. Right. Brian Johnson from the Social Loafer podcast.
What? Wait, hold up. Social Loafer?
Yeah.
Like the shoe or a loaf of bread?
I think like a loafer. Oh, I thought like loafer like person. Like, you never heard someone say, like, oh, he's a loafer.
No.
You never heard that?
No, what does that mean?
Like, I think like a loafer is like a lazy person.
Man, well, let's just
Like,
stick with shoe or
loafing
bread.
around, you know?
Yeah, like you're a loaf.
Oh my God.
You know when cats, they become loaves of
Yeah,
bread and they're just
yeah.
laying around because they're cute breads?
I don't think it's that, but you know, Brian Johnson at Social Loafer 85, you let us know, okay? He says, I love that they named the speechless girl from War for the Planet of the Apes Nova. My question is that an Easter egg referring to Planet of the Apes, or does that girl grow up to be Linda Harrison, who plays Nova? And those movies are that closely connected. I definitely think that that's just an Easter egg because the timelines just like don't match up. Like if that were true, Nova would be like thousands of years old. Felicia at Cinemaroni,
Felicia.
she says, how much fun do you think the actors in ape suits had on set?
Oh, I don't think they had much fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they were really uncomfortable.
I think they were popping Valiums and smoking, and
Yeah. Probably really hot, too.
I would love to undergo the ape makeup though, just once.
Me too.
And I
Do you
think
know anybody
after,
that could do that? Oh, Kelly. I wonder if Kelly could do that to us.
oh yeah,
Right? Our good
Kelly
friend
Harris,
Kelly. Yeah,
FX.
shout out.
Kelly,
We love Kelly.
let us know what we got to do.
Oh, man. Kelly. She's our only hope.
Help us, Kelly Harris, FX. You're my only hope. Carlo from the Movie Loot podcast.
Movie Loot?
Movie Loot. You would like this show, actually. It's about like stuff that you want from movies.
Oh my God. Have
Yeah.
me as a guest. I'm really sorry I'm interrupting you a lot today, Seth. So I think
That's
I'm
okay.
probably throwing you off.
Oh no, I feel good. I feel thrown
I'm going to shut
on.
up now. I'm just going to shut up. Okay.
At Thief CGT says, I love it. I've seen it a bunch of times and I think it holds up extremely well, even though we all know the twist. There's an eeriness to it that you just can't shake off. And I totally agree. Like this movie's like very close to scary, you know, like
Yeah.
that Landon reveal where you see his scar.
Not only that, imagine being captured by apes.
Yeah. Heston
who
is
are-
dragged by a horse for
Yes.
maybe only a second. And I wasn't sure if
right.
it was him, but without breaking, he gets out of the net that's being dragged by the horse, scampers up, pops up and like punches a monkey or something. And you can clearly see that it's him.
And they're just catching you at nets and they're want to do experimental surgery on you. This is animal testing right here. This is scary stuff. Very scary.
Just talking about like castrating you and you know,
yeah.
And like joking about it, like
Mm-hmm.
Angelo Perez at Angelo C. Perez says, one of the pillars of the science fiction genre. It is a visceral and rustic film that, despite not having a technological setting, shows the effects of the raw use of technology. It's a great film about Cold War paranoia.
Great review. Yes.
Movies with Sammy Kitty.
Sammy Kitty?
At Traveling Sammy.
Hey, Sammy.
Yeah, you should follow Movies with Sammy Kitty.
Oh my God. I want to be best friends. I don't know them at all, but you know.
Yeah, she likes movies, but she also does pottery, like kiln pottery. Like the movie Ghost, you know, like clay.
No, I never saw Ghost.
Well, I've never seen Ghost either, but.
What?
Okay, wait. You just said that you've never seen Ghost. And
Seth,
I was like,
we know how this goes. Michelle doesn't see the movies. Seth does. Please, 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 please. It's not surprising that I didn't see Ghost. How come you haven't seen Ghost? What is wrong with you?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch it tonight.
We should do it for the show.
Ghost?
I just know this,
Ghost
right? Isn't it just like...
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The wheel pottery thing. Yeah. That's all I know about like a 2-hour movie.
Same. And isn't it, what's his face? Oh, God.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. And what's her face?
Demi Moore.
There you go.
And Whoopi Goldberg.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Sammy Kitty.
Sammy Kitty.
She says, after all that, she says, top-notch ape movie and shouting exclamations movie.
Yeah. Nice.
And then over on Instagram, Anthony.Arsenio said, masterpiece, along with the rest of the series. Not you, Tim Burton.
Throwing shade, but probably
Yep.
just the following 5, I'm assuming. 4, right? There's 5 in this series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those are some friends that we do know. Now we're going to go to a segment of the show where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. All right, so these are reviews from Letterboxd.com. We start out with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film. And we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest that you can rate a movie. The half-star review, do you have any requests for this one? Because I have an idea.
Okay, what's your idea?
I was going to try to do it as Charlton Heston.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was either that or Dr. Zaius, but I don't know that I could do Dr. Zaius.
Yeah, no. Can you do Troy McClure?
This is Troy McClure.
You may remember me from such reviews as
worst movie I've ever seen. I don't know. Kind of fun, though.
Is that it?
No. That's
okay.
one of the previous reviews.
Yeah. Kind of fun, though.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to do this as Heston.
Okay.
Film's message is pathetic. Entirely lacks a plot. Is full of illogic and laughable plot conveniences. Poor editing. Terrible action. Script is often laughable. Moronic third act. Characters are mostly shallow. Ape makeup is quite good. Though the film's premise is theoretically interesting, the many faults of the film compound to make it garbage. Suffers further due to content. Rating F. Half star.
That was pretty good. Also, it was giving Keanu.
Yeah, I think that all of my impersonations are just the same guy. There's like a person who lives in my head. And when I do an impersonation, it's that person doing other voices. Like it's not me doing other voices.
Right. It's that person.
Yeah.
We should name them. We don't have to name them right now.
Oh, okay.
Guys, send in a thought about that. What should we name the inner person who does accents for Seth?
Yeah, and they'll be like, all right, let's go over to blah, blah, blah for the half-star review.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
3-star review says, I can't believe he kissed the psychologist chimp. That's it. And I picked that one because honestly, I can't believe it either.
Yeah, it is really strange. But that's a great review.
5-star says, somehow my first time seeing this. Bafflingly perfect from word one. And I love that line, bafflingly perfect, because yeah, it's a stymie, you know? A truly remarkable work of art and science fiction that does not suffer an inch from knowing the twist going in. Even the damn dirty ape line, which I knew had to be coming, lands brilliantly and shockingly. The apes are also a stunning achievement. They look and move better than the majority of special effects in films today, especially their eyes. My goodness. I absolutely loved it. One of my new favorite films, easily. So Michelle has a rating system, which is a schmovie movie film. And then we also go over our rating, if we would recommend this movie. And so Michelle, take it away.
Okay. This is a movie. And I'm rating it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
I think this was great. I really enjoyed it. This is exactly what I want from a sci-fi movie. Like, really, truly love it. I would recommend it if someone hasn't seen it, but only if they were into sci-fi. If people aren't into sci-fi, I'm not recommending this.
You don't think that it can kind of surpass like its genre a little bit and
It's like I say
something for
every
everyone?
episode. If people are not, like, my sister wouldn't be into this.
Okay.
So I would never just be like, yeah, you should definitely watch this. Or I'm thinking of like some friends of mine who, one, if you're not into movies and if you're definitely not into sci-fi, I'm not going to. Yeah. Maybe the CGI flashy ones,
Okay.
those type of movie people. Ooh, did you hear how I said those?
I did.
But there are some people out there who need like the flashiness.
Look,
And there's
again,
no shade.
I am throwing shade because
And I guess my those did come out with shade. Ooh.
a lot of the low ratings and reviews for this movie said the action is so bad, nowhere near as good as the new ones. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
please stop, consider what you're doing, and take a different path.
Right. So that being said, I wouldn't recommend it to someone who isn't into maybe an older movie. Even though I guess this is older, but I don't consider this like an old movie.
No,
No,
1968.
I know this is
We're
not
on
an
the
old.
cusp of the 70s,
Right. Right.
Yeah, no way.
But I would say if you're into like 60s, 70s aesthetic
Yeah.
and you like sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
watch this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I agree that this is a movie. I think it's a great movie. I think you can have a great time with it. Like I said, like Don Draper and his son did in the movie theater. I think that this is extremely close to a perfect film.
Nice. Very good.
I think that this is a 5-star movie. And yeah, like I said, it's just one of my favorites. And I agree with this 5-star review. It's bafflingly perfect. Like
Wow.
I can't say why I love it so much, but it does
Yeah.
everything that we want science fiction to do. It
Yep.
warns us about a future that could be if we don't change our ways in the present. It tackles government, religion, society. It's amazing. It's incredible. So yeah, wow, this is great.
We're doing pretty well this month.
4.5.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
We've been on the same page, I feel. Oh,
Very
we've only
close.
done 2.
Well, 3 now.
3.
Yeah. Well, the page might be turning.
I have a feeling too.
Can I tell the story behind why we're doing what we're doing next?
Absolutely. Take it away.
Next week's episode, I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey, also from 1968, I want to point out. And I want to throw this out to you a little bit here. There are a lot of similarities between this movie and the movie that you're going to watch. So just kind of keep that in your craw. This film's directed by Stanley Kubrick, 149 minutes, currently streaming on Prime. This was not a film that I selected. This is kind of like Michelle's pick for this month. And I had a list of movies. I always gather a list of movies, and 2001 was not on my list. And Michelle messaged me one day and she was like, why are we not doing 2001: A Space Odyssey? I was like, well, because I'm trying to spare you from having to watch it. And we're doing it, I guess, at your request, or what? I mean, can you describe it a little?
Yeah, I was out with my friends, and particularly my friend Ryan is into movies, and I was talking about Sci-Fi Month, and he's like, you got to do 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I was like, I've always heard of this one, but I have never seen it, and I don't know why we're not doing it. And so when I finished dinner with them, I very angrily messaged you. I remember that. It was at night. And I was like, why aren't we doing 2001: A Space Odyssey? And then you were like, because you'll be bored to tears. I think it was Jean Marie who said that. Oh my God, she'll be bored to tears. And I was like, but I've never seen it. And my friend is like,
the people are demanding it.
The people are demanding it. And it's like the sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I feel like this is a rite of passage when it comes to sci-fi films.
Yep.
So I'm preparing myself. It's kind of like we've known about this for a while. I'm like, okay, I will just go into it. I know I'll probably be bored, but I hope I get something from it. And we're going to watch it together, right?
That's the plan. That is the
That's the
plan.
plan. So
Yep.
that makes it more fun because Aunt is going away this weekend. So that means I would have been watching this movie by myself.
Yeah. You would have,
Yeah.
yeah. I would have recommended like 10 coffees before. And I know that I'm saying all this, and like I clearly don't think that it's a bad film, but there's a lot of reasons why we should do it. You know, its status, its importance. Also, we haven't done a Stanley Kubrick film on the show yet. And while there are directors that I love more than him, his impact on film history and also just film lovers, you know, like come to love films through some of these real big name directors. And like Kubrick, it's undeniable. So I'm excited to, you know, be covering one. And I know that you have a lot of experience with A Clockwork Orange.
I do.
Have you seen any of his other films? I'm just curious.
I've seen Lolita.
Oh.
I saw that in my controversial film class.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
I think that's it. So just Clockwork Orange and Lolita.
Okay. All right. Well, buckle in.
Buckle up, Buttercup. This should be interesting. But you know what? I think, again, it's going to be, I'm going in with it, just respect the art. Just respect the art. I'll never watch this again. Just respect the art.
At the end of it, you might be like, oh, I get it. Or you might be like, I don't get it. But the journey is the point.
Right. We're going to go on it together. So that's cool. It's a movie friend's second because we only watched one movie together. And that was Back to the Future.
3, Barbie.
Oh, I don't count Barbie.
Oh.
It was like, that was a whole thing.
Hey, if you want to be a whole thing, we'd love it if you'd rate and review the show. Remember, until December 1st, it enters you into a giveaway for a $50 Visa gift card. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to 3 additional shows with more coming down the pike, which we're very excited about. One will be announcing and dropping next month, so stay tuned for that. You also get access to our patron-only Discord, where you can talk to us about many different things. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you are watching any of the movies and you have thoughts on our thoughts, especially if you disagree with us. Look, part of being movie friends is disagreeing, okay? And we want to hear some people telling us that we were wrong. So let us know what we were wrong about, okay?
Be like David Krumholtz and just write you wrong.
That's right. We need more Krumholtz in our life.
And if you don't get that reference, you got to go back and listen.
Yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You episode.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, 4.5 from Michelle.
Yeah.
And a 5 from me.
I know.
This is a big deal.
Wow. It's a big dill pickle.
All right. Well, thanks, Michelle. This was fun.
Thanks, Seth.
Till next week when we're talking about 2001 A Space Odyssey. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Music by Anthony Vicora. If you like the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. It really helps us find new friends. Thanks. Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Music by Anthony Vicora. If you like the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. It really helps us find new friends. Thanks!